In the heart of Nigeria's largest city, where life moves at a relentless pace, there's a hidden world. A world where justice is often obscured and lives hang in the balance. Meet those who refuse to let the system define them. Our story begins with one individual, an innocent soul ensnared by a failing system. This is the story of Saheed Adeniji, who, like so many others, lost their innocence.
This is not a place you are going to go out tomorrow or next tomorrow or in a week's time. And I said, why? I said, nobody that enter into this place that go out without the help of lawyer.
But it is not just Saheed's story. It is a story woven from the threads of resilience.
When I was in prison, actually, you might interest you to know I was there for 16 calendar years. Even though for the offense I never committed.
It is a story of reform.
The inmates are there. They are not there to die. They are there for reform. So since they are there for reform, they should be given the necessary things, the necessary amenities to feel like human beings.
It is a story of redemption.
My name is Collins Okeke. I'm the Senior Programs Manager with the Human Rights Law Service, Lagos, Nigeria. The key challenge is corruption. There's a lot of corruption within the system.
As we journey through the challenges of a failing judiciary and prison system in contemporary Nigeria, we will explore the triumphs and tribulations, their hopes and their hardships. Together, we will shine a light on the shadows of justice in contemporary Nigeria.
My name is Saheed Adeniji. I have a barber's shop. Sometimes I go into automobile selling. Each time people have car, they send it to me, I help them in selling. I need to get a drug for a friend, which I firstly bought the wrong one. He now said that's not the one he asked me to buy, which I now search for the right one, snap it and send it. He said, yes, that's it. In the Western world, they use the can as a prescription, which it came with prescription from doctor as well, which I showed it to them at the pharmacy store. And I sold the right one to me.
Saheed now went to the Nigerian post office to send a prescribed drug abroad to his friend who had asked him to buy it on his behalf. He successfully sent out the package, but his life was about to take a dramatic turn. Soon after, Saheed received an invitation from the Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency attached to the Nigerian Aviation Handling Company. He had no idea why, but he decided to honor the invitation. As soon as he arrived at the agency, Saheed was taken into custody. He was not charged with any crime, and he was not given a trial. Instead, he was transferred to prison, where he spent many months behind bars for simply helping his friend. Saheed's story is a cautionary tale about the dangers of living in a country with a corrupt and unjust legal system. He was innocent of any crime, but he was punished nonetheless.
We have this challenge of wrongful accusation is essentially corruption. If you look at the number of courts we have, and then when you put it together with the increasing rate of crime, you see that the courts are congested. That means that the time it takes to process criminals will also be very slow. And what that does is that we now have prisons that are overcrowded with people who are awaiting trial. And so that now spirals into the prison facilities, which is also centralized. And so because it's centralized, you have 36 states producing criminals who have to go through a centralized judicial system that is slow and very ineffective. And because it's ineffective, it creates this huge prison population that the centralized prison system is not able to process. So this kind of now creates a criminal justice system that appears as if it's broken.
If you go to the history of each prison in Nigeria, you will see that they are built on capacities they can accommodate. But presently, a prison built on 1,000 capacity is carrying about 3,000 people. So that is overcrowding itself.
Overcrowding, boy. When I was first admitted in Onitsha prison, I spent my first few weeks in a cell of about 20 by 30 feet room, and we were sometimes 90 something in that cell. So you can imagine. We were like slaves there. From there I was put into the where they call the back cell. So a 6 feet square room, 7 of us sleeping in gang chains. How would somebody in there be rehabilitated? The warders don't even open there unless they want to serve you food. They don't even want to know whether you are feeling fine or not until somebody dies there. Sometimes somebody will die, they don't even remove the corpse until it begins to smell. So those things hampers or stops or hinders rehabilitation. It can't happen.
The role of the prison system for the rehabilitation of inmates as they discharge from the prison, it has not been effective because, one, the prison authority are no longer providing what they are supposed to provide for them when they want to leave. And two, the congestion too is also affecting the inmates. Most of the challenges faced by the staff is, for instance, they don't have enough vehicles to take inmates to court, and the manpower is no longer there because, like in Lagos, we have so many courts, different courts everywhere, and maybe there is 3 or 4 vehicles. So sometimes you cannot take some people to their rightful courts because there is no available vehicle to take them there for quicker justice.
I discovered when I was in prison that inmates were treated as slaves. We need to change that. Punitive punishment. Punishment must be that will correct. For example, I am campaigning seriously now for the abolition of capital punishment. Capital punishment needs to be expunged from our legal code. Nigeria has taken the lives of many innocents. I was sentenced to death. What if I've died then? And today somebody will be telling you that guy died, but he don't commit this offense. So
If you're poor and you're unable to pay your way through the system, those that are able to pay their way through that system are released. Those that are unable to pay their way become suspects, and from being suspects they become accused, and that's how they get trapped within the criminal justice system. So, and then again, because the court systems are very slow, some of these people then get lost too in the criminal justice system, the court system, and then they end up at custodial centers.
frankly, I'm not a senior advocate, but our legal system is sick. Now, for example, I think all of us are to be blamed, in the sense that sometimes the police will arrest somebody, nobody will ask questions, police will frame up that person. From framing that person in the magistrate court, the police will present a charge, never investigated. And nobody will ask whether it was investigated or not, and the person will not even be allowed to talk. The magistrate might not even care about whether the person have a legal representation. I know a few judges that I was brought before who will actually see a case and tell you that, look, I'll sentence you to death or this, even before the case is decided. So they look at the cases, they don't look at the person.
The key challenge is corruption. There's a lot of corruption within the system.
So it's like a conspiracy between the judiciary and the police to make sure that whoever comes there goes in. But that's not right. Until we begin to see that all of us are citizens, our cases must be investigated, thoroughly proven beyond reasonable doubt before somebody is sentenced. If that is done in our judicial system, I love to think that most of us will not be in prison.
The justice gaps within the criminal justice system, impacts on suspects and accused persons in so many ways. What happens most times is that people spend long periods of time in prison for crimes that they did not commit. So I know instances of people who have spent 20 years, 25 years simply because their cases were not processed on time.
I'm not a very good lawyer, I'm not even one anyway, but I know that Nigerian judiciary is one-sided. It speaks for the elites and the rich alone. You understand? They are more interested in cash. And now you discover that Even the poor man doesn't even have access to lawyers. So the Nigerian judiciary should ensure that the poor, the ordinary man, you understand, is well represented in court. That the case is well investigated before passing judgment.
It can take time. Sometimes you go to court, your case will not be mentioned because of numerous cases on ground.
British Council Director, Enugu, after seeing my works, I was on death row there. They were like, we cannot allow this man to die there. Let us see how we can showcase this work of his, using me to actually speak as a mouthpiece for other inmates. You know what happened? After interviewing me that time, they asked me, what do you think that we can get to people? I said, connect us to the outside world. And they asked me why. I say, all of us here have admission dates. That's the day you came in. From that very day you were admitted in prison, as your day goes by, you're actually looking forward to the day you go out, right? As far as I'm concerned, the day that person comes out matters more than the day he comes in. Because if that person comes out a better person, the people outside will sleep with their eyes closed. But would people that go to our prisons come out worse than they go in? But we have problem in our hands.
And in those days too, prisons, to rehabilitate these inmates, they have different workshops where they do train the inmates on carpentry, on tailoring, on crafts making, and different trades. Even they do write exam on this trade test exam.
I got my training from the books I read, from the people I met. I began to ask myself questions. So I began to get myself, I started my own reforms in there.
But nowadays, it's no longer, government are no longer providing all those things. So even somebody who now comes to the prison, you learn tailoring, and you are going, there is no support. You still go back to the crime because he's not being rehabilitated.
For a long time, we've actually been advocating for reforms within the criminal justice system. We've also pressed for a number of changes within the courts and the prison systems.
Prison is not a place of punishment. They must equip the prisons. They must treat the inmates fine.
Ensuring that the different stakeholders within the criminal justice system, which include the police, the courts, and the custodial centers, do the things that they are required to do under the law.
Because the fact of the matter is that no matter whatever offense a prisoner commits, once he's in prison, the job of the prison staffs is to change that person. That offense doesn't concern them.
And then we're also trying to see how the rules of court can be improved so that the court system can work faster, so that they can process accused persons faster. And then we're also advocating for improvement within the correctional services system to ensure that people actually get reformed within the system, because the whole essence of having these correctional centers is for reformation. It's not just to punish, it's also to reform. So ensure that they are able to deliver on the core responsibility of reforming inmates.
They don't have training. Every warder in Nigerian correctional center, almost all of them, they are still like our police. The moment an inmate comes in there, they see that inmate as somebody that must be exploited, as an enemy, as somebody who must be punished, who must not even leave. So the most urgent challenge is that very training that they lack. They need to be trained how to handle the inmate.
An angry man is an angry man. Definitely, when you are not well motivated, you don't handle the inmates with, let me say, you can't handle an inmate the way you are handling your children in your house.
Prepare grounds for them to plant their feet on the moment they come out. For example, let me use myself. I was an artist in prison. I did my first art exhibition, internationally acclaimed, from prison at the British Council in Enugu.
There is no prison officer, I must tell you, that is working with happiness. And that is the truth. So in this type of situation, there is room for corruption. there is room for corruption.
As these voices intertwine, they expose a system fraught with corruption, overcrowding, and human rights abuses. A broken system in dire need of reform and rehabilitation. In a nation seeking justice, a deeper understanding is found. The stories of the wrongfully accused, the legal advocates, the reformed inmates, and the correctional officers all reveal the hidden truths of the challenges of the judiciary and the prison system in contemporary Nigeria. A justice system in desperate need of urgent reform.